sounds like the Leafs and Flames are re-engaged on conversations. I can tell you, and again, a lot of this news is out there, but Calgary's holding firm. They want a first-round pick for Tanev. The Leafs are saying, no, go fuck yourselves, pretty much. Probably more politely because Brad Treliving used to work there.
I'm hoping that Treliving can get inventive, get a 3-team deal going here where, you know, you don't have to give up so much and it's not so obvious what's going around, and you can kind of mix a little circle going around and have some pieces going both ways to make everybody happy and, you know, make a nice hockey deal that, you know, you can live with. The one-on-one stuff, it's like, well, you don't have a second, then give us a first. It's like, it's hard, right? And what are you getting back? Is he going to perform here? Is he going to gel here? Are we going to go deep? Is it enough to fix a lot of the holes? And, you know, you do hope when you make a move on your roster that it ignites something.
Chris Tanev is somebody that you get in the room, and after every game, you're looking at the guy. He's got ice packs everywhere. He's a beast in the gym and off the ice and how he approaches the game. So not necessarily is it only like on ice, knowing what you're going to get, always making that solid play, always putting his body on the line, blocking shots, giving and taking hits, which is also important as a D-man. But it's the professionalism he approaches everything with. And there isn't a teammate of Chris Tanev I've ever met that doesn't speak so glowingly of him and talk about like that's the exact type of guy you win a Stanley Cup with. And it's the same with his brother. Obviously, they were raised right. They have that work ethic. They have the ability to go into rooms and always kind of lead by example by just doing what a team needs to have done.
For the record, I would give up the first-round pick, but not just solely for Tanev. Like, again, from everything we're hearing in that conversation, if it's Tanev plus, yes, that would make sense. And I'm going blockbuster, man. If I'm talking to Calgary, and again, easier said than done, I want Hanifin and Tanev. Like, give me both. I'll include the first rounder. And call me crazy, I'd be willing to part with a pretty good prospect. Like Easton Cowan's got a 19-game point streak going in London. I think Hanifin's the guy nobody's really talking about. This guy's a really good defenseman, man. Like, he's going to be on the radar for Team USA the next couple years. I saw some people were blasting Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Riley for not practicing on Sunday. Like, it's so Toronto that these guys can't even take a 24-hour break just to chill out after a long weekend of doing this and that, you know?
Those guys are exhausted right now. And to have them go practice when they've been on the ice all weekend while other guys are filling their bellies full of booze, hitting the fucking beach in wherever the hell they go, and you're mad that those guys didn't come and practice. Like, you talking about practice? Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. If I was the coach, I would say, you guys, you know, hydrate, rest, stretch, do some yoga, be ready to rock on Monday. But that's so Toronto to bitch at those guys that didn't go and practice on Sunday. Like, smarten up.
Michael Bublé's a good friend of mine, so that was good. But no, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it, and I don't usually like All-Star. I think All-Star is a necessary evil. I know we need to do it for sponsors and media coverage, and it's a necessary evil for me, but I thought this one was exceptional.
Burke, you weren't the friend that gave Bublé those microdose of mushrooms, were you?
What are mushrooms?
Portobello.
Dude, I thought it was great too. Connor McDavid, man, like, plant the seed.
I don't know. If you crunch the numbers, crunch the cap, crunch the contracts that are coming up, if those guys wanted to, they could come to Toronto and it would work. It could and would work. They'd have to be communication beforehand from Draisaitl to McDavid saying, if I'm doing this, are you coming right behind me? Because there is a year difference in them, which is unfortunate, actually. But there's ways to clear up our big contracts, the cap going up. I could see it happening, but it's all based on, do they want to do that? Is Connor going to leave Edmonton? Is he happy there? Does he have a reason to stay there? I feel like if he doesn't win in the next 2 years, like, he's there for 10 years. And then he's going to look back and go, do I stay here? Like, for what? I've given them everything I could give them for a decade here. And I know Oilers fans don't want to hear it, but I think they're worried about it. And I think that they could lose both of those guys. And why not Toronto?
It's where they're at now. You got to continue to go for it. And obviously Tanev for me is the big guy you want to bring in there. I wish you could do something about the bottom six. I don't really know what's out there, what they'll be able to bring in, what they'll be able to get rid of. But in terms of like this year, it's for the next 5 years. I'm looking at it like every year you got to try to add something, especially being in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the West is so loaded. The East, if you get in and Hole comes back and he's lighting it up, it's like you never really know. I mean, it is completely wide open. So if I'm a Leafs fan with these guys under these contracts, it's like let's every year try to do something. Now, I wonder the fan base in terms of, do they know this year they don't have what it takes to win the cup? Probably not. But still, in that city, you gotta do something and bring someone in.
I called. I checked with the league again today. They're only awarding one Stanley Cup. That's right. And therefore, you're going to see 14, 15, 16 teams make major moves, and only one of them's going to have a parade. I checked. It's only one. So you're going to see guys blow their brains out like every bloody year for no reason at all.
I'd be very, very cautious with a guy like Rasmus Ristolainen. Would you go after him?
Oh man, I haven't had a chance to watch him that thoroughly to have a strong opinion, but those right-handed defensemen are always so sought after. And, you know, anyone that plays with a little bit of jam is very welcome on this roster, if you ask me.
I just don't know if I could go near 3 years and 5.1 mil, especially when you have guys to pay. You have to figure out the Mitch Marner situation. I think you want to give yourself as much flexibility this summer, if you're Brad Treliving, to mold the roster how you see fit.
There's a home ice advantage, man. When there's certain teams, like Dallas was always one for me. When you play Dallas at home, you're like, the rink is closing in on us. And then you play Dallas on the road, you're like, man, this team sucks. But it's one of those teams where certain rinks, Nashville was like that, especially in the playoffs or in big games. People don't even know what's going on, but that puck crosses the red line going forward and everybody's going absolutely bananas. They're drunk and their Preds win, Preds lose, doesn't matter. Let's go nuts, right? Where it'd be nice if we had a little more of that atmosphere where sometimes I feel like people are too knowledgeable and they think they know everything about the game, so they sit on their hands until something really special happens.
You come into Scotiabank, it's like points night, and I start to wonder if it's the brand or if it's the style of the way the Leafs play. Like, for example, you know, Simone Benoit lines up Matthew Barzal, just misses him, then a scrap ensues, and it seemed to throw some jam in the building. Like, maybe it's a style, the way they play, that if they played more of a rough and tumble, because we have experienced an era back in 2000, that era with Pat Quinn, where it was a rough and tumble Maple Leafs team. They had some guys who can scrap and guys who can hit, and that building was rocking on a nightly basis. Was this more about his wife being like, clean up your act and you look like a bum, or is it more like, it hasn't gone great so far in Toronto, maybe I can change things up? I mean, you've been around players quite a bit, very superstitious.
I don't think he's been himself. I think he's had a little bit of problems finding his way here in a Maple Leafs uniform. So when I heard that, I was like, yes, I want to see this. And I don't know how short he went or what. Maybe he's the opposite of Samson there, and he's got some new powers with some shorter flow.
Sidney Crosby would like take another contract to play for free. Like, this guy just loves hockey. He loves it. Like, he lived. Every time you hear Crosby or we play against him, he's like, leave. Like, I'm going to get my pizza or whatever. He's in the gym working out, right? It's just, he's one of those guys that's just consumed by the game, where Nylander doesn't give you those vibes, right? He gives you the, like, I'm a stud, I'm going to be cool, I'm going to live the life, which is cool too, but it's not cool when you're talking about a team that's trying to win a Stanley Cup and you just gave him a boatload of money moving forward if he packs it in.
And I've called players in. I said to them, look, you got 100 points last year. You don't need to get 110 points. You don't need to get 120 points. We signed you, get 100. Just do what you did for last year. That'll be enough. It's not. They still feel the pressure. I've got to get better. And so sometimes it takes some time for it to work out. I'm not willing to say to you guys that this is a permanent fall off because William Nylander doesn't care. It's way too early for that.
If a guy's having a tough night, that's a star, all he wants is power plays. Get me on the power play. Get me looks. Get a point. All of a sudden you get a point or a goal or something. All of a sudden you're back right into it, right? Because that's what these guys want, man. They live and die on getting points. Where if you're a fourth liner, live and die on getting the team going and doing the right things on and off the rink.
Sheldon Keefe's been a winning coach everywhere he's ever gone. And he's continued to coach well here and play well here. I'm not, put it this way, I'm not one of those people who think it's time for coaching change myself. I believe, and I don't know Sheldon that well. I have a good relationship with a lot of coaches. I don't know Sheldon that well. I like what I know of him, and I've tried to get to know him a little bit, but I like him as a coach. I've watched him coach going back to junior, coaching in Pembroke. This guy's a winning coach.
It's kind of embarrassing. I don't know why. Like, what is the need? Like, who benefits from it? Do the fans love it?
Did you get one when you came back to Toronto?
No.
Like a wave, like, hey, it's Jay Rosa.
Hey guys, remember me? No, I think it's weird, man. You got to have at least 100 games played for a team to get that, and you have like Pierre Engvall. Like,
Crazy, man.
get out of here, man. It's dumb. It should be like there's got to be like 20% of that guy's jerseys in the crowd while he was playing if you're going to give him a welcome.
We got to make
back,
a rule.